Now back to one of our top stories today. The case of an embattled Navy SEAL that pitted the president against the Pentagon and resulted in a top official's removal. Navy Secretary Richard Spencer was fired yesterday. The dispute centers around Chief Petty Officer Edward Gallagher. Over the summer, the officer was acquitted of a series of war crimes in Iraq, but he was convicted of posing for photos with a dead fighter. So Gallagher was then demoted, but President Trump reversed that decision. In a letter, Spencer says the president gave him an order that he couldn't, in good conscience, carry out. So David Martin joins us now from the Pentagon. So David, this story needs to be sort of fleshed out because it's a little bit confusing.
Yeah, it is. Spencer's boss, Defense Secretary Mark Esper, says he fired Spencer because he lost trust and confidence in him due to his lack of candor. But this case of the Navy versus Edward Gallagher has now become a full-blown fiasco, complete with conflicting accounts of why the Secretary of the Navy had to go.
Spencer was fired a day after denying reports he might resign over the Gallagher affair.
I have not threatened to resign. I am here. I work at the pleasure of the president.
Defense Secretary Mark Esper said that Spencer had gone behind his back to negotiate with the White House on ways to short-circuit disciplinary proceedings against Gallagher. Last week, the president tweeted, "The Navy will not be taking Gallagher's trident pin, the symbol of his status as an elite Navy SEAL." Spencer said he needed to see an order in writing from the president before stopping Gallagher's appearance before a review board that could have kicked him out of the elite unit.
If the president requests to stop the process stops.
But Spencer's resignation letter made it sound like he was fired before he could embarrass the president by resigning on principle. He wrote, "I cannot in good conscience obey an order that I believe violates the sacred oath I took." For his part, President Trump tweeted he was not pleased with the way the Navy handled the Gallagher case and with Spencer's inability to manage cost overruns on big-ticket items like a new aircraft carrier. That capped a day in which Gallagher appeared on Fox News and made openly insubordinate statements about his superior officers.
This is all about ego and retaliation. This has nothing to do with good order and discipline.
So, David, is it unusual for a president to be involved in a military officer's discipline and making it so public as well?
Well, as long as I've been covering this beat, I have never seen anything remotely approaching this, because the president intervened in this case at least 3 times, and he did it very publicly. First, he ordered Gallagher released from the brig while he was waiting to go on trial on a charge of murder. Then, after Gallagher was acquitted of the murder charge but convicted of posing for that photograph with a dead ISIS fighter, the president threw out the sentence against him and ordered him restored to his full rank. Then, when the Navy decided to take Gallagher to a review board that would take away his trident pin, which is the symbol of a Navy SEAL, the president intervened for a 3rd time and said, "No, you will not be taking away his seal." I've never seen a president reach that far down in the military justice process.
And then what happens with Gallagher now?
Well, Gallagher wants to retire on November 30th. The review board was scheduled for December 2nd. So if the review board had gone forward, he would have been extended on active duty so he could face the review board. It now looks like he will be allowed to retire on November 30th, and when he retires, he will be wearing that trident pin.
Wow. David Martin, thank you very much.
Sure thing.